Hi. Just wondering about my own discord in 3 areas. My relationship with my family, particularly my wife and 2 kids. My work, I'm trying to identify what exactly is downstream for me. I have so many interests in so many different things. I feel pulled so many different ways. And then thirdly, I've got a problem with my arm. It hurts a lot. I hurt it as a kid. I've had 3 operations on it, and it's painful, and I put a lot of tension on it. I crack it, and it hurts. So there's these 3 areas, and I as much as I've been through, success, becoming a tenured college professor, but then wasn't happy and left, and only to find out it wasn't the job, it was me. And so went through a real dark time for that, so I've gone through that.
Tricky when you take yourself with you everywhere you go, isn't it?
That's a bitch. So I've gone through some things, and I've come a fair ways, I think, and I've kind of lately had a little bit of my sadness kind of come back, and I'm hearing it as discord. This is the first time I'm not familiar with your work, so those are the 3 areas that I'm particularly interested in.
One of the things that is always helpful when someone offers 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 things that they want to talk about, almost without exception, there is something that is at the center of all of it. And so discussing it from 2 or 3 different directions helps you to get to it faster. And since you are the center of your point of attraction, it's not a difficult thing to do, really. Sometimes people say, and you just said it, I have several different interests, and so I feel that I'm being pulled in different directions. And we want to emphasize that you could have 100 different projects going on and not be pulled in different directions, because it's not the variety of things that you're working on, it's not the variety of aspects of your life that cause you to get fragmented, it's vibrational discord. So it's possible to be involved in many, many things and to be tuned in and to have all of them be moving along and doors just opening at the right point. So you find yourself, it's like the plate spinning act where you're spinning many plates effortlessly because you're so intuitive to what's going on. Also, you heard us as we began here, but we want to emphasize this. This is the first point of understanding that you have to grasp. And that is, the creation process is 3 steps, meaning first you have to ask, but you don't have to work at asking because life just causes you to ask. In other words, by becoming this professor, you had enough experience to know that you were asking for something else. In other words, life causes you to know what you don't want, so you know more clearly what you do want. So that asking happens all day, every day. It's not something you have to work at. Step 2 is not your job at all. Source answers. And you heard us describe that here today, that when contrast causes you to ask, the source part of you literally rides that rocket and becomes the answer to your question, the solution to your problem, the expansion of your being. And so step 2 is not your work either. Step 3 is your work. And step 3 is you have to line up with what you've asked for, which means you have to pay attention to the way you feel and gently and systematically guide yourself into vibrational alignment. So the reason we give this to you as a basis is because we want you to understand that, let's say that life caused you to know that you want 100 different things. Maybe you are like Jerry and Esther. They are having a new bus built. They are working on 2 new houses. They are working on 2 new books. They have a movie that's in the works. There's a water feature going in at the center in San Antonio. They have several things that are happening. Esther laughed as she went from phone call to phone call as she's picking out tile and picking out rocks and picking out siding and picking out this and working on the book and working on this. And Esther said to Jerry, how do we do it? And Jerry said, it's something that we've evolved to do. and we are more in alignment with Source, so Source is taking care of it. It's like assigning to the universe most of your to-do list, and then you just focus upon feeling good, and the universe takes care of it and cues you up for the moments that you need to be handy, you see. So you can accomplish so much more. There is such leverage in alignment. And when you are trying to make your world work through action, there's not enough action in the world to compensate for energy that's in resistance or in contradiction. So having said all of that, we want you to realize that most of the work's been done of the asking, and that your work is to come into vibrational alignment. And now we want to go back to what you said about being fragmented. So let's say you've got 100 projects that you're working on, some phase of them in some way. And a normal person who's dealing with all of that action would say, oh, I am fragmented because I'm having to turn my attention to different subjects. And we want to say to you that all of those subjects, those 100 different subjects, are in motion, and that the Source within you has already tended to them and lined things up. And your only order of business is to find one aspect of your life which gives you no trouble and only a joyous thought, and fixate on that. And by focusing upon one thing that makes you feel good, you come into alignment with who you are, and now all 100 projects can move forth happily. Isn't that interesting? But most people, because you're working on action, you take the thing that's bothering you the most and you give it your undivided attention, and then you use that as your excuse to not line up, and then you feel fragmented, and you think it's because you've got too much going on, when you've got universal forces to help you with all of that, you see. You're not in this alone. You've got the broader part of you and all of the resources of Source. You've just got to let your priority be to tune into that. And when you tune into that, everything else takes care of itself, you see.
And that would be like what makes me feel really great, as opposed to a pleasant diversion.
Well, there's nothing wrong with a pleasant diversion. A pleasant diversion has no resistance within it. In other words, we teach people to do meditation because it's, frankly, easier to teach you to have no thought than pure positive thought. So if something's bothering you, just meditate. Don't go to sleep. That's different. Meditate. Quiet your mind. And when you stop the thought, you stop resistance. And when you stop resistance, you come into alignment. We would far rather see you in an attitude of appreciation than in meditation, because in appreciation, there's no resistance either. And you're fully focused and functioning and living life fully. But meditation is a really good stopgap for releasing resistance and moving into alignment. What we would encourage is pick the subject of your life that has the least resistance and give it a lot of your attention. For a while with Esther, it was the new tree house. Even though they weren't in it very often, Esther spent endless hours in her mind, especially while she was driving or whatever, or getting ready to go to sleep, just envisioning the tree house, feeling the movement of the tree house, listening to the birds in the tree house in her mind. She used that as a tool for centering for a long time. Then Lovable Cat came to live with them. And Lovable Cat, she just couldn't focus upon Lovable Cat without tuning in to well-being. Then Grandchild was born, and she just can't focus upon this grandchild or any of these grandchildren without coming into alignment. In other words, find something that soothes you and let it be what you focus upon for a while, understanding that step one's already been done. You've asked a lot of things, and Source has answered them. And when you find something that feels good to think about, and you focus upon it often so that you give more airtime to things that feel like this alignment rather than things that feel like this resistance, you'll be amazed at the number of things that will start coming into being. And people will say, what are you doing? What's happening? You seem more happy. You seem more alert. You seem more vital. I notice your arm isn't hurting so much. In other words, your arm is just the path of least resistance through which your resistance is showing itself. And we think it's a lovely thing that it's right out there in the open where you can feel it really good. In other words, it's just the place that the resistance is settling. That's all. We want you to understand that what the upheaval is, and if you can hear these words, it will serve you so well. The upheaval is you've expanded beyond your ability to keep up with it slightly. You just got your stream moving a little faster than usual, and you're pulling against it just a little bit. So what you do is you soothe yourself by saying things like, I always figure it out and things always work out, and I know this was the right decision, and look how it unfolded, and we knew it when we saw it. We all felt that way about it. There'll be much more that comes later, but this is where we're settling in for now. What a good decision we've done. What a good job we're doing of living our life. I know that it could always be better, and it always will be expanding, but for now I'm really pleased with how things are going, and look at this positive aspect and this and this. In other words, you just tune yourself to your life the way the source within you sees it. The source within you feels sheer anticipation of what's coming and complete satisfaction with what is. That's the best stance for moving forward. Happy where I am and eager for what's coming, you see. And so you are so slightly out of balance. It is not significant at all, but it's enough to make your arm hurt, you see.
Feels all right now.
So law of attraction is causing this fabulous current or river to flow, and we see so many of you. It's like you take your rubber raft down to the river, which is flowing dynamically toward who you are and everything that you want, and you put your raft in the water and you turn it upstream and you begin paddling really, really hard. And we say to you, why not turn and go with the flow? And you say, oh, I'm not allowed to do that. That would be lazy. And can't you see all of the other hardworking people that are moving upstream? These are the people that amount to something. They're the ones. And all of the monuments and statues are made on those that are working really hard, and I want some of those, so I'm going to work really hard. And we say, nothing that you want is upstream. Not one thing that you want is upstream. And the reason that we know that so emphatically is because we know who you are. We know who you are as source energy. We've seen you in your contrast. We've seen you give birth to these rockets of desires. We've tended your vibrational escrow. We know who you really are and what you really want, and we want you to know it's downstream. And so then people say, oh, it's downstream. Well, then I should turn my boat around and I should put a motor on it and I should get downstream where all of my stuff is. And we say, you miss the point of the stream if you think you have to turn around and put a motor on your boat. Just let go of the oars. Just let go of the struggle. Just let go of the defensiveness. Just let go of the justification. Just let go of the beating of the drum of what you don't want. Just let go of everything you're shouting no at and begin shouting yes more often. Let go of justification. Stop defending where you are. Defending where you are only holds you in that place longer. Instead, you gotta reach for a feeling of relief. And in a feeling of relief, you begin to turn downstream. At least you let go of the oars. And if you do that often enough, this stream, this glorious stream, will call you home. And we don't mean home as in croaking, although that's good too. We mean it will call you to the reuniting of you and you. You cannot fill the void with anything other than energy. You try to cover up the fact that you're disconnected from who you are by drinking or using drugs or buying one more thing and bringing it home or any number of things. But you can only feel the fullness of who you are by being who you are. You can't cover it up with a smile or with words. You can offer all of the words in the world, and if you have not managed to change the way you feel, then you haven't changed your vibration, because your vibration is indicated by the way you feel. And it's a lovely thing when you get that, because you have all of this pre-manifestational awareness. In other words, you can tell that this feeling is leading you towards something that you'd rather not have, and so you can choose different thoughts and shift the feeling and begin moving toward the things that you do want. And then there is that post-manifestational awareness. That's the stuff that's manifesting. In other words, it's always true that what you think and how you feel and what manifests always matches every single time. So whatever is manifesting now in your body, in your relationships, in your household, in your drive to work, in the way your mechanical things are working, what's manifesting in every aspect of your life is a reflection of the vibration that you're offering. And many people would say, and rightly so, well, I'm only telling it like it is. And we say, stop it. I'm only telling it like it is. And we say, well, if you really like it like it is, then keep telling it like it is. But if there's something that is that you don't like, then tell a different story. You got to tell it the way you want it to be. And when you tell it the way you want it to be long enough that that's the familiar story, that's the chronic story, then everything shifts within you. Your point of attraction is so precise, and it is made up of the thoughts you think. And we so excitedly want to remind you that you have control of the thoughts you think.